Ever wondered what it's like to wake up one day and realize your life has become a total nightmare? Well, that's exactly what happened to Patrick De La Cerda, an ordinary guy drawn into extraordinary misery. Surprised? Well, you should be. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going into the thrilling case of Patrick De La Cerda. So, stick with me. Hit that subscription button. Let's get started. Now, who is Patrick De La Cerda? Well, he's a regular guy, just like you and me. He was born in sunny Miami to his parents Patricia Ronze and Max De La Cerda on June 4th, 1992. His full name was Patrick Kane De La Cerda. He was of optimism and he was a very bright man by all accounts. At the age of 25, he genuinely wished to create a remarkable life for himself and was in a happy relationship with Jessica Devnani when he suddenly lost his life. Patrick was going about his day, minding his own business. Suddenly, something unusual happened that changed the course of his life forever. Everything was seemingly blissful as a matter of fact. But then, it wasn't until the deed that shook the state of Florida and the entire nation to its core was done. In the event that no one ever expected, Patrick was murdered right at the doorstep of his residence in Deltona early in the morning of February 27, 2018. Now, every sudden death has its suspects. Who could be behind the mysterious turn of events in Patrick's life? Just when you think you've got it all figured out, there's a plot twist. Brace yourselves. Patrick De La Cerda and his fiancée, Jessica, were already making preparations for their future wedding as the couple met on a dating app called Plentyfish in June 2017. Their relationship quickly grew in a few months, and the couple already began traveling and exploring the world together. Patrick had previously shared his feelings for Jessica with his mother, Patricia Ronze. One day he came and said, "Mom, this one is the one," Ronze said. Patrick and Jessica had plans to marry in West Palm Beach, Florida, or in France where his mother was from. So, by December 2017, Patrick had popped the question and Jessica joyfully accepted. He gave her this temporary engagement ring. "I was so excited. I was so happy. My dreams were coming true," Jessica said. Patrick had plans to give her a custom-made engagement ring at a later date. But before then, on February 27, 2018, Max De La Cerda, Patrick's dad, received a call about a package being delivered to his home in Deltona, which he shared with his son. Patrick had been expecting to receive Jessica Devnani's permanent engagement ring at any day, but Max never heard from Patrick, nor did Jessica when he tried contacting him. So Jessica, who was worried about Patrick since he's stopping answering his calls, rushed to Patrick's home and found him lying dead in a pool of blood. He had been shot 4 times. At the crime scene, investigators went through Patrick De La Cerda's house, and there they discovered the killer had taken his computer and his hard drive from the home security system. Detectives on the case were able to find unique shell casings from 300 blackout ammunition, bullets used in semi-automatic weapons like an AR-15. But here's the twist. Before dating Patrick De La Cerda, Jessica Devnani was in a toxic 8-year-long relationship with Gregory Bender, a successful hedge fund manager. According to Jessica, Bender was possessive and abusive. Before she broke up with him, Gregory Bender was recovering from a medical procedure at the hospital. But when Jessica Devnani went for a visit, she met another woman by his bedside. Immediately she saw her, she told her, "I'm like his fiancé," and showed her the ring, and the woman was like, "I'm his wife." Devnani eventually terminated her relationship with Bender after the conversation. After the fallout, there was one person who could not stand seeing Jessica Devnani and Patrick De La Cerda in love. That man was Gregory Bender. Jessica says Bender would often leave threatening messages for her and Patrick. Jessica had shared one of those voicemails with the media. "I'm giving instructions, and I'm going to have my plan put into action," Bender said. While Jessica was dating Patrick, she says Gregory Bender invited her out on several occasions. She agreed to go because she noticed he was getting too upset and she was trying to calm him down. "And he said that if I went to him, he would not harm anyone," Jessica said. What she didn't know at the time was Bender had hired a private investigator to secretly record them going out to eat together at various restaurants. He then had the private investigator send the recordings to Patrick. Eventually, both Jessica Devnani and Patrick De La Cerda had enough of Gregory Bender's acts. Jessica was able to file a restraining order against Bender with the mountain of evidence she had. The court eventually ruled in her favor, and Bender could not contact her and had to submit all of his firearms to authorities. Earlier that morning of Patrick's passing, she received 2 calls from Gregory Bender, whom she had not heard from in several months. She told detectives she believed Greg had murdered Patrick. It would not be the first time Detective Chad Weaver would hear Gregory Bender's name. According to him, Bender's ex-wife, Daymara Sanchez, had also contacted him with information about Patrick's possible killer. Sanchez, who Detective Weaver learned was married to Bender during the time he was dating Jessica, asked to meet with him in a private parking area. She was nervous, Weaver said. She had more than enough evidence to share against Gregory Bender. Sanchez told Detective Weaver that she had seen a news report of De La Cerda's murder and that it was very similar to some notes that she saw written in a spiral notebook that belonged to Bender. She told Weaver that when she had asked Bender about his disturbing notebook, he told her that the notes were all just his fantasy. But, to Detective Weaver, this fantasy Sanchez spoke about was a lot like the very real murder of De La Cerda. The tip from Sanchez gave the police the warrant they needed to search Bender's house. Once she told us about the murder plan, that gave us what we needed to get into the house, said Weaver. Immediately, they got into Bender's home. They found Patrick De La Cerda murder evidence. There were several handwritten pages with a map of the murder scene and details of how to hide the crime in a trash can at Gregory Bender's home. I was in shock, said Weaver. There's no way that we just found this murder plan. On a few crumpled up pieces of paper sitting at the top of Bender's trash bin were the more details of his elaborate plan to kill Patrick De La Cerda. The notes had De La Cerda's residential address, rough drawings of his property, and notes on how to enter and exit the environment without being spotted. The notes read in some parts, "Dispose of clothes, plate, tracker, gloves." It seemed like Bender had already prepared for the elimination of almost all the evidence. But one big oversight in his plan was ignoring to dispose the notes. There were also ammunitions and a shell casing, which matched those found at Patrick's house. Those bits of trash were valuable, and more clearer evidence from both Sanchez and Jessica, along with cell phone evidence and the discovery of the ammunition, helped to convince the jury that Bender's sketches were more than just fantasies. 3 years after, on May 28, 2021, Gregory Bender was found guilty of first-degree murder after trial. Bender's attorney still insists that the search of his home was illegal, but that didn't hold much weight in the court. Bender is now in prison serving a life sentence with no possibility of parole. However, even after getting justice, Jessica and Patrick's family are still angry about the initial restraining order given to Bender even after he seemed too dangerous, because they believe it failed to save Patrick's life. "It failed us," Jessica said. "It failed Patrick." With Gregory Bender now in prison, Jessica says she will keep on living for Patrick De La Cerda. "We will always love him for the rest of our lives and the afterlives," Jessica said. As we wrap up this investigation, we hope we piece together the puzzle and the theory on what really went down. All right, folks, that's a wrap on the case of Patrick De La Cerda. If you enjoyed this video into mystery and misery, don't forget to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Thanks for tuning in.